Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to talk about women, nice guys, and the end of the world. Because after making a lot of MGTOW videos, it has occurred to me that nice guys and ugly women are the reason for the end of the world. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I think a lot of us can agree that the major problem with Western civilization is this capitulation to the least intelligent, to the biggest complainers, to the biggest whiners, to the weakest among us. Or to put it another way, we have become so compassionate and so capable that we can sustain people that under any sort of natural conditions, under any sort of free market system, they would never make it. I suppose the ugly women would make it, but the stupid men, how would they make it? But we live in a society, in a civilization that wants the men, the males, to be like women, to act like women, right? Because this way, women can dominate and women can take over and women can rule the roost. So there you go. Want to have sex? You want to, not with me. If a man wants to have sex, if a man wants to get ahead, he has to act a certain way. And in civilization, in this larger group, that's usually trimming back the masculine traits, the aggressive traits, the traits that build civilizations, that sustain one through difficult times. Those are the traits that are condemned in a modern civilization within a feminized group. So there's this societal civilization incentive to give up the stronger male behavior and to capitulate. And whether you guys realize it or not, this does cause physiological, hormonal reactions within the men. Right? If the woman says, look, I'm just as worthy to be in charge as a man, and as a man, you're thinking that's absurd, right? I can just raise my voice and you will, you'll start to cower. But then you have to say, oh yeah, I suppose that's true. Well, you've just taken a hormonal hit right there. I've just taken a hormonal hit right there by just saying it. Sorry, people. No, the stronger, the fitter, the more intelligent, the more capable is not supposed to capitulate and bow down and give in to the less intelligent, to the weaker, to the more frightened. This is what leadership is. I was seeing an interview with Donald Trump from Fox News, and the news reporter he just wouldn't shut up about the CIA claiming that the Russians had given the election, had hacked the DNC, and had moved the election in Donald Trump's favor, right? And Trump is like, look, we don't know that that's true. And the reporter, just like this little bitch, was like, well, are you, disagreeing with the CIA, or do you think they're out to get you? And he's like, no, I think they're political. I think that their people are in charge. And the guy was just like a little girl or a little child that wouldn't stop and wouldn't acknowledge the fact that, oh yeah, even the CIA, puts a political spin on what they do, right? And it's even what they do. It's not even, how the results turn out. It's like what they do. We would like you to investigate this, as opposed to we would like you to investigate that. So there's this drive to not tell the truth, to go along with the group, to not state uncomfortable truths. And most men have to go along with that in order to get along. And I think that they forget that, oh, I'm just going along here. And it has this physiological effect, and it's damaging the men. And it puts women in this dominant position over men. And it's a bad idea, you know what I mean? Because you are giving in to these lesser instincts, to these lesser emotions. So now you become dominated by your fear. The society becomes dominated by its fear and its worry for its weakest members, rather than, fulfilling its ambition and its hopes and its dreams and encouraging its strongest and its best members. And I'm not suggesting that we would be without compassion or anything like that and not take care of people, that need help. I'm just saying that it's not supposed to be the priority here in life. When you raise people in this authoritarian, socialistic mindset, this propaganda, which causes this, socialistic mindset, this group mindset, it doesn't matter if it's a capitalistic society, if you dominate the social situation, if you put out this authoritative message throughout all of the media and branches of their social life, they're going to become these negative reinforced creatures like a dog that you overtrain and that you're abusive towards. It just has no motivation for life. no happiness, no joy, no energy of its own. It capitulates, it does what you want it to do because it doesn't want to get hurt, learned its lesson, but that's about it. That's it. And, it becomes this brutal and this cruel kind of animal rather than this self-fulfilling biological creature that, seeks its own happiness and seeks its own balance and health. It's just this servant to this, unfair system. And it goes along, and it really reshapes the animal. So that's what we do with men. That's what we do with women too, But in our case, the women have been put over the men, or this circumstance puts the women, over the men in that dominant position. Because the men are capitulating in order to get sex, in order to not be socially attacked, in order to remain part of the group. The men are sexually and emotionally bonded to the women in their own group. And the women, no, they can, they can change their bond. Men could do it too. They're just not aware of it. Well, it's hormonal. Okay. Like if the man had a higher level of progesterone, boom, he would suddenly be able to be like, oh, well, I can just move on and love someone else. Or, oh, these are my new rulers. I'll just go along with them. It's hormonal. Now, of course there's character and there's integrity and, what builds what? What causes what? Does the character cause the hormonal shifts, or do the hormones cause, the shift in character and the shift in biology? It's probably both, isn't it? And, and your propensity, your cells, receptors to these various things as well, right? Of course. See, even the ideology that the media pushes, men and women are the same, they're equal, there's no difference, right? And if you treat it as if there is, or you speak out like there is, you're going to be socially attacked, you're going to be kicked out of the group. Well, that's a hell of, so that's going to keep the male cortisol level pretty high in social situations. But we are different, and it's fundamental. So consider that when men and women have sex, it causes a completely different reaction within the brain, right? A completely different set of hormones. As a matter of fact, they're interacting hormones. They're complementary hormones. That's why one of us is big and strong and healthy and has this, beard and this attitude, and the other one is soft and round and, wants to cuddle. Things like that. Right? And we live in a society that wants to say to men, no, you need to be, that one that wants to cuddle. Because when, during the act, in the women, the oxytocin is released, right? And it makes the women want to stay, nurture their young and get close and to cuddle. But men, we get a huge bolt of testosterone, which completely suppresses and offsets the oxytocin. And, that's nature's way of saying, leave the nest, go sire other offspring, or go get some food, but you're not supposed to hang around here, right? So this is real stuff. You know what I mean? Like when you're done having sex with a woman and you're like, okay, I'm going to go and just get the hell out of here. And she's like, no, let's stay and talk, right? So you want to pretend these two things are the same? They're not, and they're not supposed to be. I just feel the need to express this. There's a reason why women are smaller, soft, round, with lots of, particular fat deposits around the breasts and around the buttocks and the hips, okay? And there's a reason why strong, healthy men are lean and fit and grow beards and are muscular and can work all day long, don't get wrapped up in their emotions, don't bond in the same way with the young. Now, we live in a society that wants to pretend that, the men are bad. But that's a bunch of bullshit, because the men are the ones who go out and build the fences. The men are the ones who go out and farm the land. The men are the ones who build the machines. I actually had somebody say to me that men and women are the same and they use tools the same way because women use the men. And it's like, no, women manipulate the men through sex. So if you want to do that and you want to, and you have the certain hormonal balance to do that, go ahead, Yeah, I don't even want to go into the idea of homosexual men, but, or men who want to be women. So there's this fundamental difference, and it's an absolutely necessary difference. And we live in a society that says to the men, hey, tone it down, right? So it's a bunch of bullshit. And it's physiologically damaging to the men, and then you do it to the young boys? What a horrible thing to do. What a cruel, unkind thing to do. You're shaming them because they're little boys. And that's the size of it. So what man who goes along with this in order to get married and to sire children, what kind of a father can he be? What man who goes along with this to keep his position in, the job, in the company, what kind of a man can he be? Now, is it possible to be the father and to have the job and to still maintain your integrity? Absolutely. Of course it is. And you have to be politically correct, but you kind of hold on to your personal integrity. I hope that's what people can do. I guess I found it too difficult. And this is why I take a step back, and I am MGTOW, and I basically have very few relationships. But if they are on my terms, then I have them just fine, right? So this idea that MGTOW don't have relationships with women or don't have relationships with the world, that's absurd. They just recognize that women in the world, the system, are trying to abuse and manipulate them, trying to shame them, trying to control them, and they just won't have it, right? So boom, they just, they're not treated in the same way. That's my view of MGTOW. Now, what the individual man does with this knowledge, you know what I mean? Like if he closes off all contact with women, or if he just says, no, I'm just, not going to deal with these hypergamous, entitled princess bitches, that's fine. That's fine, right? As long as he knows what he's doing, that's what I'm concerned with. So understand, this is a hormonal, physiological situation, and, you can control your hormones and your physiology through the environment easily. I mean, if we put a person under stress, all their sex hormones, male or female, but differently, are going down the tubes, and all their stress hormones are kicking up all the time, right? Of course. So I'm going to be doing a set of videos talking about the hormones and how they interact with us and how the environment interacts with that and how that interacts with, our epigenetics, our DNA going forward, and our psychological states. Because, it's a chemical cocktail, and it's the key of what's going on. And here's the thing. I mean, you don't have to understand all of it and just, have all the chemical analysis going on and the chemical formula going down. That would be nice, but it's not necessary. It's too much detail, okay? But you do want to understand that the environment is affecting your hormones is affecting your health, your outlook on the world, your outlook on your world is affecting how you're interacting with the world, and that's, having this other effect on your hormones, right? It's this dynamic, constantly changing, negative feedback loop. And it's a dynamic, right? And it's not just like on a 1-to-1 ratio. There's all these things interacting with it. But as a man, there's no reason why you can't calm the hell down, eat the right foods, examine the situation for what it is, understand the situation for what it is, and then find your own way. Find that center balance point. One of the things you're going to have to do is control the media. Control everything that comes into you. The media, the food, the emotional interactions. Understand that the world is trying to manipulate you as a man and shame you and control you, which is part of my series of videos, pretty much all last week. Just how, go check those out. As I said, I want to talk about how these things are affecting individuals hormonally and chemically. And it's different, but it's basically the same. Like if you're putting somebody under a lot of stress and fear, most people are just going to get all freaked out and eventually shut down, But there's a few that'll just go crazy and rise to the occasion or, overcome the situation. And this isn't any sort of a character judgment on people. It could be, but, rather a difference in the way that our bodies react, the cell's receptors react to the various hormonal shifts. And as I said, if you don't know what's happening, if you don't know that it's happening, it's like you're on this horrible roller coaster ride. It's like, how horrible is it for a man to wake up depressed and sad and lonely when with a different hormonal balance, he could just as well wake up, like a tiger ready to take on the world, and you would have to feel sorry for the rest of the world. Well, no, you'd actually, they'd be lucky to interact with the man at that level. But I mean, look at what men can do. It's like we live in a day that shames men and tells them, oh, you got to do what you're told. You got to hold the door open for the woman. Oh, you should be lucky. You should be scared. Look at what men can do. Men build castles. Men build bridges. You want to say, oh, but it wasn't any one individual man. Yeah, it was. One individual man, was basically behind huge parts of it and coming up with it. Maybe not the whole thing by one individual man, but you know what I mean. It's like it starts with one man deciding to do some things and then involving others and building it up. So I just wanted to talk about that. I hope it helps. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate. Click on my PayPal donation link, request yourself a Howard Dare video this holiday season, or just make a donation to the channel. I would appreciate it. And join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.